Joining us now to break all this down, Boyd Marcus, former chief of staff for Jim Gilmore and longtime political consultant, and he's now a consultant for the Chris Peace for Delegate Reelection Campaign. Full disclosure, transparency. Great to have you with us. Boyd Marcus.
Hey, thank you, John, very much. That was a great introduction you laid out there for what's been going on. It's been quite a mess, actually. From the beginning, the Scott Wyatt has been trying to reduce the number of people who could participate in this process. Normally we've always been electing in this area the candidates by primaries, and of course that's open to everybody. You just show up at your regular voting place. Well, he switched it to this convention process, which requires you to you got to file in advance, weeks and weeks in advance. You have to file, then you have to go to the local mass meeting, then you have to go to to an actual convention on May 4th. And in all that, of course, that puts a lot of strain on normal people in terms of how much time they can devote to the process. So his feeling has been that he and his cronies could, manipulate this process. And we were really pleased that Dale Taylor, who was the chairman in Hanover, took action, because the rules of the Republican Party are very clear. If you have a conflict of interest, you've got to notify everybody ahead of time that that what you're about to vote on is going to affect you, and so that everybody else in the room knows this thing. But the situation is now. But as you said, he rigged the system and how it was going to happen. But we've so far beaten him in every one of the counties in terms of the number of people who have filed to be delegates to this convention. And now we won a big victory in New Kent, because Chris Peace is committed to sending everybody who files to go to the convention. The way it works is each county has a number of delegates that they can elect, and then if they have more people who want those spots than their number, they can elect them as alternates. And then any of the delegates that don't show up, then one of the alternates takes his place and casts his vote, just like at the national convention that you covered and participated in so well last year. So what we've committed ourselves to electing everybody who files to make them either a delegate or an alternate, so that we get the maximum participation. Scott Wyatt's campaign has refused to do that. In fact, the Republican Party of Virginia held a meeting where they were trying to get all the campaigns together to negotiate how we were going through this process, because we did have more people file than we have delegate slots for. And so the Wyatt people wouldn't even send a representative to the meeting. They had one of the campaign staffers call in and say he was going to sit there and take notes, but no, he couldn't actually negotiate anything. He couldn't actually take any position, and so they rejected. And I asked the question, well, before we get into this, don't we have to all agree that we're going to send everybody as either a delegate or an alternate, so that if people know that they'll be able to participate? Can you guys just agree on that? And they said, no, we can't agree on that either. So that pretty much clearly indicates that the Wyatt campaign is going to try to slate people off, to prevent everybody from being able to go to this convention. And that's why we're pushing very hard to turn people out tonight in Hanover at the big mass meeting there. So that's kind of where we are right now. And let me throw the ball back to you, John.
Well, here's the deal. Look, Scott Wyatt, who's a supervisor in Hanover, has every right to run for office, every right to run for House of Delegates member. And I'll encourage anybody to do that. You want to run for office? Do it. I'm in favor of it. You want to challenge somebody in a primary? I don't believe in one ballot, just no candidates on a ballot and any of that stuff. You want to run. But do it in a fair and open and transparent process. Everybody else has a primary, but the 97th district. Have a primary. Go have a primary. And if you want a convention, then you're chairman of the you're making the decision about the nominating process, and you're going to run for office if you get a convention, and you tell your cronies inside baseball, and you start filing people ahead of time, but you don't tell anyone else, and then you set it up to get a convention. Don't tell anybody you're a candidate. You're in a position to make that decision. As soon as it gets done, you rig that, then you say, now I'm going to be a candidate. Okay, that's called rigging the system. That's why Dale Taylor, the chairman of Hanover County, kicked him off the committee. It's like this is what is destroying the Republican Party of Virginia. We want to get together, not divide and separate, not be exclusionary, not kick people out. So they do that. So they have a convention. I hate conventions, right? I hate them. Why do I hate them? Because this nonsense, it begs this stuff. It begs rigging. Everybody gets mad. It's all nonsense. Now we got slating going on. So he gets the convention, right, that he wants, that he rigged that. Scott Wyatt, hashtag Wyatt the Rigger, gets that, right? I don't care if he runs or not. Gets that, right? Now, Peace goes out there. Hey, here's the problem. I don't agree with Chris Peace on everything. He was chairman of the John Kasich campaign. I think John Kasich is a joke. I was chairman of the Trump campaign in Virginia. Guess what? I kicked Chris's butt in the Super Tuesday primary. Trounced him. Doesn't matter. Turn the page. That's yesterday's news. As a delegate, Chris Peace has done a great job. And he got my racetrack back. And he helped create 1,500 jobs. And he did that single-handedly with no help from anybody. He did that. So people like him. He's got a record. Beat him legitimately. Then, so they have the convention. Now they find out, well, a lot of people really like Chris Peace because he's really done a good job. So now we can't win the convention that we set up to win. So now what do we have to do? Now we have to exclude people, and we have to rig the convention, which is what we rigged to get there. So, it's rig again. So let's keep rigging. So now, let's see. You turn out 150 people in New Kent who filed for Chris Peace. They got 8. You've got 142 of them. They're like, we're going to lose. So now they go to Hanover, where they have a slight advantage because that's his hometown, and now they're going to slate that. And what slating means is all the people who filed can't go to the convention at Hanover High School on May 4th on Tuesday and vote. You kick them out. You say, we don't want you. Go away. We want to control it. We want to nominate our guy. So you did the work. You filed. You want to be involved. You can't come. You're out. You're kicked out. So we can slate our people so that we can now rig that. And you want to know why the Republican Party can't win a statewide race? I mean, you've got to be kidding me, Boyd. This stuff has got to stop. Until Republicans stand up and say, I've had enough of this. I have had enough. And they stop it. We're never going to win, Boyd.
100%. I 100% agree with you, John. This is exactly the kind of problem that we've had. People have kept it's the old circular firing squad. It's like, well, you're not quite as pure as I am, so I'm going to shoot you, and And we keep getting smaller, not bigger. The Republican Party was built in the state on being able to talk to a broad range of people and persuade them that we have the best ideas. And that's not what we're doing anymore. And we've got people like Chris Peace who have been leaders who have actually gone out and done things. And all that we're getting now is the naysayers who say, oh, no, you didn't do it perfect. You didn't get 100% of everything we wanted, so you're bad, and we want to throw you out. That's the kind of insanity that is turning this state over to the liberal Democrats because we keep shooting ourselves, and it's astonishing to me. And I see the way these things have been going, but. In tonight, it's a simple way for anyone listening to this show to participate. If you're a registered voter in Hanover County in the 97th district that you vote for, you're registered to vote, and you can vote for Chris Peace. You can show up at that meeting tonight. All you'd have to do is bring your ID and your voter card, or actually you just have to bring your ID, and we'll look you up on a computer to make sure you're a registered voter, and then we'll let you come in, and then you can get to vote, and you can vote to send every person who filed to the convention. Chris Peace is not afraid to send every single person, whether they were Wyatt supporters or whether they're Peace supporters, to that convention, because we believe absolutely that people need to participate in this process.
Well, this is what it's about, opening the doors and getting more people involved, not shutting the doors and excluding people. What they're trying to do tonight is exclusionary. What they're trying to do tonight, they can't win, even though they can't win in the nominating environment that they rigged to get the convention. Now they're finding they can't win the convention. So now they're trying to rig that. This is unbelievable.
Absolutely.
You got people in Hanover. You got, Boyd, this is bigger than Chris Peace, okay? It's bigger than Chris Peace's reelection. This is bigger than Scott Wyatt, the rigger. This is about the soul of the Republican Party. And there's a cancer in this party. And the cancer is people like Scott Wyatt and his cronies that are trying to rig systems to exclude people and shut them out and shut the door and shrink the party for their own gain. And until we cut this cancer out, until Republicans stand up in Virginia and say, I've had enough. I have had enough. I want a party that is inclusionary, that is welcoming, that will bring me in, that will hear my divergent voice, that will be open to new ideas, that will bring people in. Until we stop this, we're going to keep losing. And so I
agree with you,
everybody.
John, put your finger right on it. We've got to be able to tolerate within our own ranks that we aren't all going to agree on every issue. And it's that but just because you don't agree with someone on one issue, you have to judge a candidate by the totality, not the one issue. And this has been a big problem, and this way of approaching it, where okay, we're going to outmaneuver this guy, and we're going to put him in the corner, and we won't let his people show up to vote for him. That's the way that you turn people off, and you keep getting smaller and smaller, not bigger and bigger. And no matter what, you have to have 51% or 50 plus 1 to get to win an election. And that's what people have forgotten. They want it to be just the way they want it, and not worry about winning the elections. And we can't change policy if you don't elect people. That's the whole thing.
Go to Hanover tonight and send a message. I'm going to put it on my Facebook page. Send a message. And I don't care who you're for. You can be for Chris Peace like I am or not. You can be for Wyatt. I don't really care. It's your right as a Republican to have an election. But let's have a fair, transparent, and open platform. Let's not have this nonsense, this rigging, this slating. If you want to go, if you want to trace the cancer back to its genesis, 2013, Ken Cuccinelli changing the nominating process from primary to convention by stacking people on these committees, right? That was
right.
Defeated Bill Bowling in a convention, nominated E.W. Jackson, Ken Cuccinelli, right? If there's a primary, Bill Bowling wins, beats him handily. Bowling wins for governor. Pete Snyder or somebody's lieutenant governor. Obenchain is attorney general. They sweep the board. They were going to win. If you want to trace the cancer back to its genesis, that's it. It's these conventions, and it was started by Ken, and the rigging and the slating, and they think they're so smart and so smug because they figured out the process, and they have apps, and they know who's at the convention. They control it all. Control it all, Boyd. Keep it small, control it all, and lose.
Yeah. That's exactly it. The bigger, we have to get bigger, not smaller, if we're going to win elections.
Thank you.
That's it.
Absolutely. Boyd Marcus, good luck. Thank you so much. John Fredericks Radio Network. Send the message. Open the party. Stop rigging conventions and nominating processes.